I first met Darrell, we were about 17 years old. We were both in high school, Granger High School at West Valley City, Utah. Pretty sure we had a home ec class and a history class together, and we just kind of became friends at that point. We both were into music, and we both liked Motley Crue and heavy metal, and everything was great from that point. And we formed a band in high school, and we played a high school show in our high school, and we thought that was the coolest thing ever. And throughout the 90s we kind of reformed again. We created this band called Struck by Lightning, and it had Darrell, it had me, it had Brian Rosnahan playing bass, and we played a bunch of clubs in the Salt Lake City area. Club 6 at 666 South State Street was one of our favorite places to play. Played there a lot. We recorded some demos. Things were really cool back in the 90s. We thought we had it all nailed down, but we didn't. And after playing clubs, a couple times a week, it kind of became a routine thing. And my wife at the time was pregnant with my son, Zach, and I decided, well, I should probably become a responsible father and do the fatherly thing and stop playing in clubs and be at home for the family and whatnot. And so I did. I quit the band, and Zach was born, and flash forward, I don't know, 21 years, something like that. I have 3 kids now. They're all pretty much grown and doing their own thing. And I moved into downtown Salt Lake at the Ben Albert Apartments on the 4th floor. I had a killer view of downtown Salt Lake. It was a great place to be at that time. And I happened to be friends with Darrell on Facebook for quite a while before, and we just we would like each other's posts. I would see that he was playing out. I thought that was cool and everything. And around 2010, I saw that his band Meat was playing at a club in downtown Salt Lake area. And so a friend of mine and I decided we'd go check it out. And we went and checked the band out. And I hadn't seen Darrell in probably about 15 years. I'd never seen him or anything like that. And so he comes in the club, and I was pretty impressed and shocked and impressed at the same time that guy had the frontman gig nailed. That he was the frontman's frontman of rock bands, and it was pretty impressive to see him rock the club that night. And I was like, wow, he's got it together doing this gig, and I was really impressed. So anyway, it was a good show. I totally enjoyed the show. I dug what they were doing and everything. And the night ended, and we went our ways. And
life, it's a book. Open it up and look. Take it day by day. Let it fade away in time. Yeah, we'll die or just fade away in time. We'll cry or just fade away in time. And the part is what you make. You know my love is a fake.
I just, in the back of my mind, I've always had that, the rock and roll fantasy in the back of my mind. It's, I guess once it's in your blood, it's in your blood forever. I don't understand, people that can just leave it. It's one of those things that it's always in your blood. A few years went past. I'm still living in downtown Salt Lake. I hadn't touched my drums for probably about 6 years. I hadn't laid a finger on a drums for about 6 years. The reason, I'm living in an apartment downtown. I can't play drums in an apartment because that's just not socially acceptable. All the cranky old people there wouldn't have that. And I've been chatting with Darrell, and he's been wanting to get a project back together. He's been wanting to get Meat back together. and get that going again. I'm like, yeah, dude, I would totally love to do that, but I haven't played drums in 6 years. I haven't laid hands on a drum in 6 years. And the project sounds super interesting. I'm totally down for it. But there's this little problem where I'm way rusty and I haven't set my drums up in over 6 years. I even came to the point once during that 6 year time period, I almost sold my drums. I was figuring like, man, it's been 5 whatever years. The drums are they're just part of the decor of my apartment, and I don't see me playing drums for a very long time, which is a sad thought and a sad realization, but that's kind of where I was at that time. And so Darrell knew this, and he went out and bought a drum kit. And I'm like, all right. So I get a text from Darrell one day, and he's like, dude, I got a drum kit. I'm like, all right, I guess we're on. And so we set up a time for me to come over and rehearse, and we did. And he had his daughter on bass, and him and me, and it was knocking the rust off of a steel pipe for a minute there, and that having not played for so long and not having played, it's one thing to play along with a record or a compact disc or something. It's one thing to play like that. It's quite another thing to play with other live human beings that is not a record and it's not preset. And that was really kind of a mind opener. I'm like, man, I haven't done this in over 20 years, and it was crazy, but I really liked it. And it only took maybe 1 or 2 jam sessions, 2 rehearsals, whatever, to get to the point to where I can knock the rust off of it and get things going again. But, it was kind of like riding a bike, getting back on and getting your groove back, as it were. And yeah, Daniel got his groove back.
And the stakes that I will take, they never go away. Feel what's real, whatever will I feel. Still I feel that my sanity's gone away, yeah.
Darrell and I, so I left the band in 1996 to raise my family, and really didn't have any contact at all with each other for over 19, 20 years, something like that. And we end up living in the same vicinity of Salt Lake, and we went out to lunch together. My daughter, him, just hanging out at the mall, just having lunch and just talking about old times and things and the projects that he has going on. And just like I always thought that was the coolest thing, that he's still following his dreams and doing what he wants to do. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, it's always been in the back of my mind to continue playing music and continuing to play clubs and things like that, and do the thing that I love doing. It's always been there. It's never left. And so Darrell, he texted me that one day. He said, hey, I bought a drum kit. So I guess things are on, and have rehearsals and things are going. And Darrell and I picked up from where we left off, basically from 20 years ago, and it was almost kind of a seamless transition. That it was almost seamless that 20 years, the gap of 20 years closed almost instantly. Is really kind of a cool thing. And he and I are, he's one of my best friends still. It's like, even after having not had contact with him for so many years, that it's like, the friendship still clicked there. And it's like, we're awesome friends. We excellent band members. The chemistry between us is amazing. The chemistry between Darrell, me, and Lindsay, it's awesome. It's almost pretty seamless and almost effortless. It's great to play music with these guys, and really excited to see where the future of this goes, I'm just, everybody always talks about, don't ever give up on your dreams. And it's true that, it's always been a dream of mine, and it's something that I'm going to let happen. And the people that I have around me now can see the vision that I'm having, and they're letting me let that happen. And it's a good place in life to be, with the right people, the right energy, the right talent, and with Darrell and I, the right histories together. That it's an awesome thing, and I'm excited to see what meets got coming down the line. And watch out, because it's going to be awesome.
Will it die or just